assassination of President Kennedy in 1963. However, that cat has been seen many more times and even also recent. Something else interesting that's been reported is at the Gettysburg Battleground. And we all know lots and lots of stories come from there, and that place is hugely haunted. Residents and visitors have seen soldiers in full uniform, like they're still fighting the war that ended over 150 years ago. But these spirit soldiers are also spotted on horseback. So there again, the animal is still with possibly the pet owner. Another interesting one is at the Lemp Mansion in Missouri. And we all know there's lots of hauntings and lots of tales from the Lemp Mansion. But one of the most intriguing reports of an animal ghost, it originates from the Lemp family themselves, who was actually once considered St. Louis royalty. Charles Lemp, he was the fourth and final Lemp to commit suicide. He had a pet dog named Serva. Charles decided to end his life in the same method that his father, brother, and sister did before him. He believed that his furry companion would be too distraught to live on without him, so he shot the dog before turning the gun on himself. Serva is reported to be one of the most common of the Lemp Mansion ghosts, especially fond of the room where he met his tragic end. People say they felt his wet nose nuzzle them. They've heard his howl echo through the mansion, especially on the anniversary of the dog's death. The spirit of Charles Lemp himself is often spotted in the upstairs guest rooms, and Serva, his dog, many times is spotted accompanying him. So that's pretty interesting in itself. Now, there is another familiar story of animal hauntings, and that comes from the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. This magnificent hotel is notoriously haunted by victims of an evil doctor who scammed unsuspecting cancer patients. Now, the sick put their lives and their life savings in the hands of this Dr. Baker, whose treatments did more harm than good, unfortunately. The tales of ghostly encounters at the Crescent are nothing new. One would almost expect this place to be haunted, and it actually is. But recently, stories of a different kind of ghost have surfaced. The spirit of an orange tabby cat has been spotted roaming the halls of the luxury resort. The cat is thought to belong to one of the baker's many victims, and so that's quite interesting that it took so long to show up. Now we move on to this next place. It's kind of interesting, and that's the Emlyn Physic Estate of Cape Mary, New Jersey. And it's the town's only Victorian house museum and is also known as Cape Mary's original haunted house. It was built in 1879 by Dr. Emlyn Physic, who moved into the mansion with his mother, Frances, and her sisters, Emily and Isabel. Now, all of these people eventually died in the house, and all three of the women are believed to still be residing in the building to this day. Now, in addition, a number of Dr. Physic's dogs are also said to still be roaming the halls of the mansion. For many years, Dr. Physic was the head of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and had taken in a number of dogs. When the canine spirits are around, there is said to be some disturbance, since Frances was not fond of the animals and would not allow them in the house. However, Emily, who was a dog lover, would sneak a few of the pups into her room when her sister was not around. So that's where we get all the dogs making a disturbance. Now, there is over 100-year-old legend, this next one, that looms over the scenic hanging hills of Hubbard Park in Meriden, Connecticut. It is the legend of the black dog. Those who claim to have seen this dog say it is completely silent and it does not leave any footprints. Several deaths in the area have also been blamed on this canine. A geologist named W.H.C. Pinchon, who published one of the earliest accounts of the black dog, stated, "If you meet the black dog once, it shall be for joy. If twice, it shall be for sorrow. And if you meet the black dog a third time, it shall bring death." Now, Pinchon had personally seen the dog himself twice. His second sighting of the canine took place when he was conducting research in the Hanging Hills with a fellow geologist named Herbert Marshall. While Pinchon had seen the black dog twice, it was the third time his colleague Marshall had seen it. And when the dog approached them, Marshall slipped on the ice and fell to his death. So, is that coincidence? Or was that the workings of this black dog, right? There is this candle shop of the Poconos located in Swiftwater, Pennsylvania, and it just appears to be an ordinary store at first glance. However, the century-old building has a very grim past. At one point, it was used to conduct medical experiments on spider monkeys. Horrible, right? The shop was built in 1897 and was originally the residence of William Redward Fisher, the doctor who performed the experiments. The monkeys were kept in cages and experimented on in the basement of the building. Now, after the candle store opened, the cages and the old medical equipment, they were still in the basement. The store's current owner, her name is Linda, and other people that were working in the shop, they have heard stampeding sounds coming from inside the building, and they have even smelled the monkeys that haunt the store. Most of the ghostly activity takes place at night, and that's why I guess a lot of the employees refuse to walk around in the shop alone after dark. I mean, that would be a little spooky. Linesville, Pennsylvania is another place, and it is home to the historic Knickerbocker Hotel, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this place. The original owners, Milo and Sierra Arnold, first opened the hotel, and at the time it was known as the Arnold House, in early 1882. Some of its ghostly inhabitants include Clara Arnold herself, who succumbed to tuberculosis just 3 years after the hotel opened, and at least one small child also died there as well. Another spirit that roams the Knickerbocker is a cat that resides in the second floor room, known very appropriately as the cat room. It is speculated that the spirit is an orange tabby cat that once stayed at the hotel. The ghost feline has been captured on video sitting on a chair, and its meow can be heard in another video. There have been even more disturbing reports of animal hauntings at places like animal shelters and slaughterhouses. In Homestead and Redwood, Florida, there were reports from different sources of what is believed to be animal hauntings, possibly tied to a bunch of cases where horses have been stolen and butchered for their meat. Now, that sounds horrible, right? Reports range from hearing the horses neigh from the areas where there are absolutely no animals, smells, and even one report of an actual sighting of an apparition of a horse. Most of these areas during the night also have no city lighting, and the houses sit on larger areas of land or small farms and agricultural fields, which are out of the way and would not be the cause of these sounds and sightings. And there has been many structures and parks built on the site of slaughterhouses. And there have been reports of people having feelings of panic, dizziness, and a feeling of not being alone. The Millwoods Art Center in Kentucky was built on the site of Fisher Meatpacking Plant. The story is that Buddhist monks were brought in before the renovation to do a type of exorcism to rid the space of evil. Well, they had to complete their ritual 4 times, and even then, they were never fully satisfied that the cleansing has been complete, and this is from all the animals who was slaughtered there. Now, with that, we will be back with more Ghost Talk. You are listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
"45 minutes past the hour. You are listening to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. We are broadcasting live on station WBHM. I have been discussing animal haunting.